Hello and welcome to Bay 1, this is Jafal Maraxi, doing another Robocraft live stream. This one's called Eve of Respawning because tomorrow is supposed to be, well, today for some people already, it's supposed to be a huge patch day. This is where all of the respawning and new game modes etc. come out. So it's going to be an eventful journey. Let's say that much. For anyone that's not really aware, let's go over the main things. The new game mode, which of course will be the capture the base, destroy the tower type thing. If you're used to games like League of Legends or conventional MOBAs, it's copying some of those elements where you have to destroy the enemy base or capture various towers or destroy towers for gaining battlefield control. It's similar to that in some ways, but not really. But yeah, so, and of course it introduces respawning in those games. The towers are called, or the home base is called a plutonium reactor. And basically you have to destroy that to win the game. Games last up to about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how your team plays. Overclocking, which means that your bots get more powerful as a particular match goes on. It's kind of an automated upgrade system similar to other MOBAs, except you don't have to worry about trying to upgrade your stuff. It happens automatically with the more stuff you kill and do and the more you contribute. Fusion Shield, which is something that protects your home base, and also healing, like a area of effect heal in the home base. So if you're protecting or trying to defend it against attackers, you're going to have an advantage. And fusion towers, which are the attack towers, they don't actually do any kind of damage themselves, but you need to take them over for battlefield control, and you need to have control or have destroyed all of your enemy ones before you can actually really go for their base properly, or disable the base shield. Actually, it's disabling the base shield. Anyway, so the previous or the current battle mode isn't going away, so that's still going to stay in the game. But in reality, there's a whole new game mode which leads to a lot more depth of gameplay. It should be interesting to see exactly what happens. Probably the biggest letdown for some people is the Megabots will not be able to play in that game mode from the start, which, yeah, that's going to annoy some, but apparently FreeJam have another way of including Megabots down the road. They just want to get the basic game mode fixed, and then they'll probably work on introducing the Megabots later on once they're more confident with the balance and the new meta changes. And that will be the big thing, is the changes will drive a lot of different design on robots depending on what they're targeted at doing. Are you going to be scouting? Are you going to be capturing? Are you going to be defending? And all of those will necessitate different forms of design. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, working all day tomorrow means that I'm not really going to be able to get an early look at any of the changes. Plus, as usual, we can expect a lot of the stuff just to not work correctly on the initial rollout. That's really not unusual, so for me it's expected. For a lot of other people, may not be so, but anyway. Woo! Not supposed to fly off the cliff there. What happened? Okay, this is not working. It's the problem with having hovers on there as well. Damn. It's a weakness with the hovers. Oops, we got someone coming in behind us. Going for a cap by the looks of it. Team win. I don't get many kills on this game, unlike the 7-kill Deathcrab game, but yes. Maybe I should attempt to get in my last games with my Mega TX before stuff happens.
Interceptor spotted. No. Such a good game as well. Okay, so they're all anchored a little bit better. Back to battle. Hmm.
SMG hover spotted. SMG tank spotted.
Well, I tried. Oh shit, I kicked over into tier 10, so that's why. Oops. Well, let's get back down. Still tier 9, or tier 10 rather. I'll get back down to tier 9. There we go. Better. What's the highest amount of RP I've ever had? Probably about 10 million. I don't really get much more than that because I spend it. That was what ASRock asking, what's the highest amount of RP I've ever had. Yeah, so I've never had a reason to store it for that long. Okay, so I'm back down to tier 9 at least, which makes gameplay for this part a little more fair. You're a builder, not a saver, says ASRock. Yes, very much the case. I mean, if I really need it, I've got more than enough stuff in saved cubes to afford pretty much anything I need to build outside of a Megabot, so yeah, I've got it in resources as opposed to raw monies.
Plasma bomber spotted. Bomber spotted.
ASRock says, I have to destroy my regen dust sink since the new metal will kill it along with the regen megas. And Oniki, I can't remember I can't read your thing because it's showing up in a horrible bright green that doesn't show on my screen. But hi. I'm to go charging after this dude because he's trying to flank us.
SMG tank spotted. Plasma bomber spotted.
Game over. Oh, O Night Fallow. O Night, sorry, not O Night. Nightfall, sorry. Stop sticking weird O's on the beginning and ends of your names. Yes, Nightfall. Hi there. And SCR23, hello. And yes, I'm playing on the crab again. It's fun. Ashorb saying, even though I only play T10 to grind RP, I've always wanted this crab build. Yeah, I mean, this crab build can go to tier 10, you just have to replace all the blocks with black blocks, and it doesn't need, I mean, if you've got the T7 legs, I think these are the T7 legs, then you can put them on there, and, I mean, they work. Surprisingly, they actually live a lot longer than you would expect them to. And yeah, if I took it to a T10 design, it'd still be pretty effective, so it's just down to personal preference as to how you want to play this particular one. Now, can I get up the cliff here? Now, I was having some problems with climbing hills just because
SMG
of how the thrust is set on this design. And that's one of the problems I have. There we go. Alright, now I should be able to snipe down from above here. And I've lost some legs, so that's gonna hurt. Do you have any medics around? Nope, time to... Ah, gonna die. Run, crab, run. I failed. Lower tiers. Okay, anyway. Nightfall is asking, ready for the update? No, not even close, but we'll see how the game works after they get all the bugs fixed, because the first couple of days are going to be nothing but servers up and down and bugs. SCR23 saying, yeah, mostly play T10 these days for the RP, lower tiers look fun though. How many hovers does the crab have? Alright, I'll take you on a quick inspection of the crab so you can actually see if we can get inside it and take a look around. I think I've got 5 hover blades, so you got the one in the front here. And if I pull, I think it's this block off, you'll have, 6 actually. Okay. Got 1 in the front, you got 2, 3, 4th one on the top, and then there's 2 on the sides, 5 and 6. And whether the top one's really required, I don't know. And we've got these thrusters on the top. These are just help for stability when you're trying to get up off the ground and to try and self-right as well. Using mostly square blocks or standard cubes on the base for weight to try and, again, help self-right. But yeah, so Pilot C is on a Triforced base. So the 2 blocks underneath there aren't actually connecting to anything. Got this little pillar that goes up the back, and lots of thrusters and other stuff inside here just for control mechanisms. It's a pretty horrendously complex design, actually. And of course you got the wheels, not the wheels, the legs, which are just for looks more than anything, although I have found a use for them. Originally when I first built this, it had fake legs on the side, which I'd built myself. They didn't actually do anything, they just looked good. And now it's actually got proper legs, so it's kind of fun. And it's also designed to use plasma, nanos, or SMGs. I haven't managed to get it working using rails. Anyway. And it's a crab, it's got to have 6 legs. And 2 arms, it's got 8. That's what it's supposed to have. It's a... yeah. Well, with regards to ASRock's comments on EPs, and I'm liking the idea of pure blocks for regen, so I don't really see a need for EPs anymore. EPs are going to be good if you're out in the game doing scouting or using fast moving bots, or if you're playing a more tactical battlefield role. If you're trying to get up front and brawl and stuff like that, then you're going to be better off having just raw blocks. So brawlers tend to be less electroplated, maybe a few for critical areas, but otherwise it'll be all about blocks, whereas the electroplates will be for the faster moving type designs that are for doing quick hit and run type things. Because you're going to not really stand up in head-to-head gameplay, you're going to be more focused on battlefield objectives. Or you should be. But that's the obvious thing that's going to happen. Certainly for base defense, then it's armor blocks all the way, because electroplates just won't be able to keep up. But yeah. And I think there might be a guide for the crab. I'm not sure if it's a complete guide. I think it was broken up into a few different sections. Mostly because I was trying to work out how to build the damn thing myself. But yeah, there are some videos on my channel that cover a lot of the build process for this. I never actually did a specific, oh, this is how you build the crab from scratch all the way through, because it was quite a long build time for me anyway. So
Plasmacopter spotted. SMG tank spotted.
ah,
Rail walker spotted.
come on, self-right. There we go.
Plasma bomber spotted. Rail walker spotted.
Ouch, one shot.
Plasmacopter spotted.
I will see if I can find the crab build.
Rail hover spotted. Plasma bomber spotted. Plasmacopter spotted. Plasma bomber spotted. Plasma bomber spotted. Rail hover spotted. Plasma tank spotted.
Right. Yeah, with the... Yeah, I need the cubes more now since... this is Astrobes, I need the cubes more now since they are buffing rails. 9 layers below my pilot seat. Yep, you will. SCR-23 is saying wow to that. Yep. Astrowarp, the bomber had T10 plasma, that's true. SCR-23 is not a fan of the rail bath. Astrowarp, tomorrow one-shots won't be happening so often. That's kind of true, due to how the damage propagation will work with resist and stuff. That is really going to take a lot of getting used to how different modules resist damage or don't resist damage from weapon types. I have a thruster stick. Well, actually, I don't really have a thruster stick. It's a thruster wedge. I'll show it to you in a minute. It's a tier 1 and nearly impossible to control, but it's still pretty amusing to try and use. I was just trying to get a tier 1 flyer working. Do you know the amusing thing about the crab? It would be very easy to actually make this fly.
SMG
Flying crabs, yeah. Go figure. Come on, need repairs. Run away, hovercraft. Run away. Sorry, run away, hover crab. Oh, damn. No. Did my best. The down point about Tetras is that they're going to have less armor under the new metagame. So yeah, you'll be more lightweight in some ways, but there's going to be an armor penalty for it as well. Anyway, let's go to my little thruster wedge. And why not use prisms? Because prisms weigh more. That's SCR23 asking why not use prisms. Yeah, prisms weigh twice the amount, so you want to keep your mass down so that you've got the most acceleration. Okay, so yeah, this is my little tier 1 flyer thingy. Now, don't laugh too much as I try to fly with this because I'm not exactly a great pilot and it's very, very finicky. And I can barely hit anything with it, so... And you can't accuse me of over-tiering because, yeah, there's no such thing. This is all tier 1. Ah. And stabilization, what stabilization? Oh, fuck. I need to remember how to pilot this thing again. Screw this is a pain in the ass. It flies after a fashion, but not very well. Ah. Yeah, and it's weak. Let's see if I can work out how to pilot this thing again. Hello and welcome to Bay 1. This is Oops. On Sunday night. Someone on the TX1 Megabot SMG hovercraft design video saying, I don't understand why you zoomed in so long when engaging in battle. It can be very dangerous to your own bot as well as your team to have tunnel-like vision for an extended period of time. Yep, it was very much true. I don't pretend to be good at the game. Mood. Ah, God, Twitch controls, or what? God, this is so sensitive, it's insane. Anyway, that's enough with that little design. I really suck using that. So, dumb. Why did it not cut the beginning of the video on the hovercraft design thingy? It just seems to have done the entire... I hate freaking... Yeah. Nah, whatever. Wait a minute, is that even the correct video? Yeah, okay, so, yeah. So I'm just looking at something. For some reason it's got a bunch of crap on the beginning of the video uploaded that shouldn't have been there. Oh well. ASRock, I will show you the design quite happily. Right, so basically we've got a set of cubes on the front here. Let's pull off this SMG here. So I'll show everyone how to build this so that they can mess around with trying to build it, pilot it themselves. And let's pull the pilot seat off so that you can actually see the right color of blocks. So got a couple of heavy blocks on the back. These are necessary for weighting, otherwise you really cannot control the thing. We've got a couple of prisms here. Tetras, sorry, not prisms. And on the back we've also got some additional weighting. Like so. And then the rest of this should be pretty much straightforward prisms, except I think, did I even bother to triforce the pilot seat here? No, I didn't. And we got, oh, I did use some special blocks in places. I think I also had that one, yeah, that one's on inner as well to try and reduce the front weight a little bit. prism on the top. Doesn't really matter what way that one's angled. Oops. Okay. And then we've got, I think we've got just the standard prism, standard blocks. Okay, yeah. And then prism there. Another one there. On the back we're going with, because this is where we have to worry about having too much weight on the top, so we don't want to have more weight than absolutely necessary. And now it's just a matter of getting the control systems on, which I'm still messing around with where all the thrusters go for best effect. Oops, I need to buy a bunch more of those thrusters because I'm out. Never hurts to have loads. Down, forward, I think bottom thrusters there are forward as well, yep. We've got some up thrusters here. The reason for all of these up thrusters is because you kind of need to offset some of the forward thrusts to help control it. That might actually be a way that I can fix why I keep flipping over so much by removing one of those thrusters. And this is a redundant control away on the back. So we got the top and bottom face that way. That one faces the opposite direction, so if we lose one side we've still got full axial control there. And now we got, this is a down thruster, which again that's to help offset the spin so much, so you're still going to have more force from the front, but this just helps offset it. And then lots and lots and lots of forward thrust. Pilot seat is going there. I think we're almost there. We've got some more forward thrust here. We've got yet more forward thrust. Can never have too much. And then it should just be a matter of sticking on guns wherever they fit. I had one on top. Come on, more guns. And there was another gun back here. Did I have it right at the back or did I have it forward a bit? Okay, yeah, so it doesn't matter which way that block's connected because you're only using one side of it, but yeah, and that's the last gun. So that's the design. Oh, there's one more gun on the back. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's the design. Again, as I said, I'm not even attempting to pretend that it's a great version of that. But it's fun to mess around with, so I just wanted to see if we could get a practical flyer at tier 1. And it seems to work, so yeah. Well, these aren't really for thrust up. This is how you control, all forward thrust is how you actually stay in the air. But these, it gets extremely twitchy if you have just a few thrusters on it, and you also end up with problems with not being able to turn the craft over if you get stranded. I'll try and give you an example. I'm going to take off that one and those ones. Oh, it's not going to matter anyway. I don't have a pilot seat. Oops. Right, let's take off that one and these ones. Yeah, it's all gone. So yeah, that's literally just to lift the nose up so that the main thrust there works. I mean, it's kind of working a little bit better, actually. It's weird because every time I fly this, the physics seem a little bit different. So this is seeming easier. God. And now I get into... God. Stop. So now I've got a problem that I can't actually fix myself unless I roll it. I mean, it took me a while just to get used to the control scheme on this last time I started messing around with this. This version is slightly less tweaky, so you're right with taking off some of those thrusters. So that's helped. Anyway, good night for you, ASRock. I know you've got to go to sleep. Yeah. But yeah, the grey cubes on the front actually cause it to weigh down too much because those are 15 kilograms and you're dealing with a pretty low thrust budget that's available. Anyway, enough with that design. If anyone wants to mess with it, then feel free. Okay, this is a... what the hell is this thing? Oh, it's a tier 3 railer. Oh yeah. Someone was asking why do I not build tier 3 bots? Well, this is a tier 3 railgun, or railer that I built. I think I need to do a tutorial for it. But against tier 6s and tier 7s I'm gonna die. Yeah, I put almost zero effort into Triforce in this, so what you see is what you get. And it's designed to be focused on speed, hence all the thrusters.
Rail walker spotted.
Too far.
Rail walker spotted. Medic call.
Nope.
SMG takeoff.
Ah, got no wheels left. Fuck. No. Tutorial for World Triforce Tier 10 bots. I would love to at some point. It just takes time to sit down and build Tier 10s. They require a lot more thought than the earlier tiers. And there's only so much benefit to Triforcing anyway. If you actually overdo the Triforcing, you end up weakening your design as opposed to strengthening it. Alright, I'm gonna adjust some of these blocks here because I don't need some of these cubes the way they currently are. Let's make sure we got clone mode on. That can become a standard, actually, like that, so we got more of protection. These can become inners. And I think the one in front can actually be an inner as well. Yeah. Oops. Helps take some of that weight off of that section at least. This doesn't need to be prism, we can actually semi-triforce that. These are kind of there to try and help protect those guns. Same reasoning with this. Why did we not have... Oh, we don't have the available CPU to protect them. Okay, back to battle. Yeah, the weakness with those mantles is plasma. SCR is saying some people try to make a mantle that only touches the skeleton at a few points. Yeah, you can lose huge sections of your design using that kind of mantle thing. You're better off doing like a 50-50 type scenario where you've got 50% is a solid skeleton and the other 50% is like the outer shell or layer. I usually build most of my designs for lightweight and kind of that has triforcing built in most scenarios. Just because how I space the entire hole. But oh damn. So a lot lighter just taking those through. You've got a few blocks out. Whee! Oops. I need to add turning thrusters onto this.
SMG hover spotted. Plasma hover spotted. SMG tank spotted.
out of range.
Plasma hover spotted.
Alright, so I'm going to try shotgunning the plasma dude here. Oops, failed. Ah,
Plasma hover spotted.
gotcha. Although not really through my efforts.
SMG tank spotted. Plasma drone spotted.
There we go. Where was that plasma back drone spotted?
Plasma drone spotted.
Ooh, up here. Nope. Rails are not tracking fast enough. Gotcha. And I suck with railguns, so that's why I'm missing so much. Gotcha. Yeah, I've no idea where the last dude is. Yeah, they're drones in T3. You can have helium. Well, the basics of building a mantle design. Let me just try and give you a quick thing on it. I've got plenty of CPU space here. So this is going to be the facing on which you build. So mantle designs typically rely on having sheets of armor. And what you would do to build the sheets of armor, let's use green ones here, is you'll have prisms connected like this. And then you'll have another layer of prisms connected like this. And this essentially gives you, when you take this layer of blocks away, this essentially gives you a layer of armor on which you can build. So yeah, that's like layer 1 to start with. And then what you need to do is you need to build another layer of armor on that. So from this you would then build another layer in front. Although, yeah. And for example, I'm going to start with here. And clone mode makes this so much quicker to do, by the way. I hated doing this before clone. So I can't give you a complete design, but I can give you the idea of how to build your mantle at least. So now I've got two sheets of armor right next to each other, but they've got no actual connecting points. So what you'd then want to do is get some inners, or whichever block types you want to use, and then create connection points through. So perhaps I would want to have this block here connect through to the back. So now that's connected through to the back. And perhaps I'd want to do this one down here. This one here. So now we've got 3 points. And you'd also want to make sure you've got a connection point somewhere around the edge. So let's do these two up here as well. And that way you've now got 5 connection points, 2 there, 1 there, and 2 there that actually hold that facing on. So that if you need to make sure they're spaced relatively far apart, so the plasma damage can't just wipe out all of those connection points. Now, a proper volley of plasma will still wipe out most of that sheet. But yeah, that's the basics of how you create the ablative armor layers, and that's triforcing. Now, if you really want to get complex with it, you can actually start rearranging a lot of these blocks here so that you're further preventing damage, like from these sections, from propagating outwards. So damage would get directed up, but it won't get directed outwards here. It depends on what items you're trying to protect, what kind of armor, what weapons you've got on there, but that's more or less the basics of how you would do your armoring. And this can represent the bottom. Let's say this was where our pilot seat was going. Well, for one, you would not have that block connected through to where your pilot seat would be, because that would be suicide. But let's say this was where our pilot seat was going and we had a sheet of armor underneath that. In my thing, I would have, say this is the back of the pilot seat, this is the front. Pilot seat would go on there. So you've actually got no direct connections between where the pilot seat is and the bottom layer. Instead, the connections are having to go out through here, and I think the top through 2 blocks to actually get to there. Now, if this was where the seat was, you would want to also have some additional routing going on. So for me, I don't like having these blocks directly connected to the sides here. If at all possible, I prefer to limit that. So I might end up doing something I don't know. Yeah, I don't like having the front and back connected like that. I prefer to have them something like that, but obviously you'd need it connected and rearrange some of these so that you have independent connections. Because otherwise a single blast will take out both of these blocks instead of just taking out one or the other from damage routing through to that. Because both of these matter for connection to the pilot seat, so you can lose one or the other, but if you lose both, you're screwed. So yeah, this is more or less the basics of Triforcing. Now, if you want to do something like a gun turret Triforce, let's say this. I'm going to mount a gun on the top here. What I prefer to do is I will go about 2 down in terms of having an open frame around it, but you start getting more than that and you can end up losing way too much of your design just because it's too easy to take big sections off. So I tend to do something similar to this, whereby I will then have inverted prisms. It'll help if I do this in the middle, but it doesn't. And you'll see there that up the sides here, there's going to be no actual connections to where the gun's actually mounted. And so I'll do the same thing on this one, except most of the time you want it to look solid. So the prism will actually be like that. So we've got this one and this one. They're not connected to the front, so any damage that they take actually has to travel out around the sides and downwards. And so let's do the same here. And then to actually connect all of that together, you have the prisms on the side, and it just looks like a solid turret. And this block then means that it takes 1, 2, you know, it's going to mean taking out this entire bottom section. So any damage going there is not going to be any real danger of losing your gun. And if you really want to get finicky with it, it's possible to have these triforced as well. So you can potentially do something like this, so you only have 2 connection points, one on opposite corners. Now this can actually be beneficial if, let's say this is the outside facing and this is the inside facing. You know that you're not going to get direct hits against the inside facing, so you'd want to have this route damage around the outside all the way to the back here before transmitting it down. That has some limited utility. I see some people using it, a lot of people don't even bother. It's just added complexity onto a design that doesn't really need to be there. And if someone does get a lucky hit in here, then it just means that you lose all of this armor section anyway. And you probably lost the gun at that point anyway, but it doesn't really matter. And of course you might as well just have standard blocks down here, because this needs to be a solid base. And always try to have, if you're building arms out on your box, always try to have 2 sets of blocks going to everything. Because it's just a lot stronger, and it means that a single hit may not necessarily take the entire arm. Now, if you want to get really special with doing triforcing on this type of thing, you can actually build the arms like this, so that they're essentially separate strands. And they could still connect onto a block here, so damage to this will not take out the bottom layer or vice versa. Again, that's down to personal preference. Some people prefer solid arms, some people prefer a design like this. I actually prefer this kind of design. I just find it works better for me, and it works better for anti-SMG in particular. Plasma and Rails, yeah, well, we'll see how that actually works in the new metagame, but yeah. So that's a few concepts in Triforcing, and hopefully that helps some of you out in trying to understand what it's about. Really, it's just a way of managing damage flow. So damage goes to this block. It, instead of being able to transmit down, it then has to transmit through these side blocks and then travel down this route here. So instead of that one shot taking out the entire facing of armor, it has to travel around the turret. But anyway, does that help anyone? And Battle 00333, is it possible to... Well, SCR-23, basically this is kind of a mantle start, but with a 50-50 design you would actually have a lot more of the block be like a solid block. Now when I do my builds, my typical seat configuration is going to be something similar to this, and then I'd actually have prisms on the corners that connect to... So let's say the pilot seat is going here. I'm just going to stick a... well, it doesn't matter what colour I put on here. They represent where the pilot seat's sitting. So you've got... the actual connection points are the front and the back. So anything coming on from the side will not be impacted onto that. And then from these corners is where I actually connect down to the under tray. So we've got these blocks here which would connect on. But if you're doing like a 50-50 type design, you would then end up having like solid blocks or something around most of this section. But with that, you also have an issue where a lot of these aren't actually going to have connection points that do anything. So like this inner section here, it's not going to connect to anything because there's nothing for it to connect to at that point anyway. So you would want to look at optimizing that by using a lower weight block. In this case, I mean, that's not really going to do much, but if there's not going to be a connection down here, then use a prism, because if you're connecting off this side or off the bottom, you'd want that, or vice versa if you want to connect like this. I'd probably end up doing something like this unless you want to connect all the way back. But yeah, you just have to really... Coming up with an effective design is a matter of looking at how damage is going to flow through the body, but not being too concerned about it, because it's easy to spend 3 or 4 hours trying to intricately design something like this, only for it to kind of just suck anyway because you made one mistake and you have to start from scratch. I usually start with a more basic solid build and then start slimming it down and working on optimizing the weight and damage patterns after I've actually been in battle a little bit, so you can see where the damage is actually spreading out from, what tends to be vulnerable, and what needs these kind of triforcing type techniques used on it. So I tend to have more of the solid skeleton type design with specific areas that have these kinds of features. An example of that would be not the Megabot. This. Where we've got pretty solid strings that run front to back on here. You've got a solid thing here. There is a little divot in here with prisms so that the pilot seat can go on top of it. But yeah, most of this is actually a solid core, and then we've got these struts that come out the top here, And I think these are prisms. No, oh, they should have been prisms anyway that go across there. And then these towers are the bits that are triforced in terms of making sure that the mount points, so guns would actually go on top and bottom here, making sure that the mount points here are actually reinforced. And in these examples, this block is a solid block there, so that's a solid block, and then we've got a solid block there. So that's actually connected in an L shape that goes all the way outside here. And you've got these two here which connect there. So I'm not going more than one deep because, I mean, to be honest, if you lose any of the central part here, you're probably going to lose the guns if you had it too deep. So that's a matter of taking into account the realities of what you can do. And then of course there is electroplate that goes on around that just to add some additional layers, and these little struts here are additional mount points. But yeah, that's kind of seeing inside the guts of one of my designs. And on the front here you can see another turret where again you've got a solid row of blocks behind it. This is the actual point where the gun will mount, and then I've just created a little bridge around there using triforcing techniques so that any damage that tries to go through instead gets pushed either up onto these blocks here and around there. So yeah, it's just come up with a concept and use some of these and just work on it. That's the best advice I can give. And mostly the armoring techniques will still be useful. What will be changing is some of these modules they will be more vulnerable to different types of weaponry. So you've got two new types of, not types of damage, but types of resistivity. One is called resistance, and one is called, what did they call it again? Yeah, one is resistivity and the other is, oh god, what's it called? Where's the thingy? I can't remember. Barrier protection. Barrier protection is basically protection against plasma. So it's how much plasma damage gets passed through into the underlying blocks. Or through individual blocks, and resistivity is how much rail or Tesla damage gets passed through into underlying blocks. So if a Tesla hits this module here, like this thing, govern how much of that Tesla damage gets passed straight through, or will it get dissipated into the unit destroying it. So it's a way of preventing something called the Gumbrella effect, where in early days of Robocraft, you could literally just have lots and lots of high tier modules like hoverblades, etc., and you wouldn't be able to damage the core of it because they would just keep soaking the damage. So to prevent that, FreeJam introduced a facility where rails and plasma had like 25 or 50% of the damage go through to the connecting block, which means although one of these could have 6,000 or 8,000 hit points, the connecting block underneath it only has 1,000. So you get hit by 2,000 plasma damage, suddenly you've just lost that because the connecting block's dead. Yeah, conductivity and resistivity and all that kind of stuff, whatever it's called, yeah. But that's the basics on those items. So yeah, it will still have an impact. You'll still want to look at how you're managing damage flow, and it will also mean you'll be optimizing your designs for resistance against certain types of weapons. So if you're fast moving and agile, you'll probably want to focus on more rail damage prevention as opposed to plasma, because it's kind of hard for plasma vehicles to hit you, whereas for slower moving vehicles with maybe electroplates or something, you'll probably want to focus more on plasma prevention, because you're more than likely to have a lot more armor in the first place. The rails are going to have a lot less impact on you. And plasmas are your biggest threat. They're what are going to be. You're still going to be pretty easy for them to hit. So you'll want to work on, okay, how can I mitigate plasma damage or spread it out into various sections of the robot. Anything else I can really discuss? I'm not playing at the moment, which is kind of sucks for anyone that's watching this, other than just giving the explanations. I haven't pulled my Megabot out for a while. This one, yay. I wonder if I can get into a game relatively quickly with this one. Queue's not too long, so does anyone else have any more questions? Great, we've got a heli combine, another combine over there, which is a healer. So my healers are attack healers, and the heli, does he have any nanos or is he literally just combines? Nope, he's literally just Tesla. Great, okay. I know, I could focus on putting functional items on this instead of...
Interceptor spotted.
Well, we've got one of theirs. Let's try going up here and seeing if we can deal with some of these bloody things. Concentrate on crippling, not killing.
Medic copter spotted. Well, I'm doing my job in terms of taking care of the flyers. SMG
And this is why I like hovers, because you could not do this kind of gameplay with a standard Megabot. I don't have as many T10 bots as I wish I did, because I stripped a few down so that I can actually build my second and subsequently third Megabots. Technically, if I was to fix them back up, this one, that's not a T10, that's a Megabot. Two. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 3 Megabots. Oh, that was my times 2s on this one. Let's do my other TX. Now this one looks like a lot of the pylons are weak, and yeah, you'd be right on that one. I've tried to make sure that the front-facing pylons are wider, so you've got like 2 or 3 blocks wide for the actual connection points. But you get up to where the guns are connected, and they're still relatively weak. There's no platforms or anything to protect them. But the entire concept of this was how many guns can you get onto a single Megabot in a standard size bay. So this is designed to fit into a non-Mega bay, and I think it does.
Interceptor spotted.
Unfortunately, I don't have a non-Mega bay to test it in. You can't force that
Plasma bomber spotted.
to be the case, which sucks a little bit.
Plasma copter spotted.
Where are they coming from? No, don't force me off the edge of the cliff here. Don't let me get back on the ice. No, 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 no. There we go. thank you very much, Sheila, for doing your job. Good game. Now Bay 14, which is my other Megabot, which basically doesn't really have any of the equipment on because I had to take most of it off so that I could build the hovercraft. Although I'm now up to 1,000,000 RP, so let's go and purchase some of these electroplates back that I need to use. It's hardware. So I can now put these back on. Oops, I have to do it on this side first, I think. Oh no, it's mounted on the sides like this. Okay. Make sure we've got clone mode. There we go. So that's those electroplates, and then we've got the front ones here. Which were those top mounted or side mounted? Yes. Mounted like that. I think I've already got all of the other side electroplates on here. 1, 2, that seems about right. There, so now I just need to get another 4 guns to go on this. So I'm 4 SMGs short of having this rebuilt. So it's 4,000,000 RP more or less. And probably the last game is going to be using my the I Need a Medic modified, so the yeah, the original version of this design, you see where we've got the Teslas connected here and not here, but at these 2 points the guns were mounted on these 2 points, and then there was some back and front mounted guns and underneath and stuff, and that kind of sucked, so I decided to move all of the gun mounts to the top and the bottom, and it just works so much better because they got better fields of view. And naturally you're healing, so most of your healing is going to be coming from underneath, but these 2 on top are for helping heal flyers and stuff, and of course the Tesla Rams, which are a vital component nowadays. And again, oh yeah, the original version of this also had 4 T7 electroplates on the top, which was supposed to be for anti-plasma. They really didn't do anything, so I took them off. They just made it wobble a lot. And I'm not sure if the stream froze on my monitoring machine, because it looked like there was nothing coming through, but so I may or may not have been getting any chat, if anyone was talking. Right, it's got a red hole. It's not got actual T10 blocks. Yep, meta nuke inbound. It's going to happen very, very soon, and unfortunately I'll be at work, so I'll be probably one of the last people to try it out. Yeah, make you run in plasma. Let's go and defend. Yeah, didn't get any of my hits in. Oh well. Still missed. Boo. YT8 Tesla in the back just because I wanted to another. I didn't know what else to do with the RP for it. Okay, I've got enough time for one more game, and that'll be it for the stream. Yeah, it was because I didn't really have anything else to put on the design, and it just means that if I lose all my front Teslas, I can just reverse into someone. I mean, it's still a hit. Or 2 hits, rather. Is it 1 or 2 hits? Yeah, 1 hit. If someone happens to ram into me from behind, boom. Usually when you start getting into like the Tesla wars, you get bounced around like crazy, so it just helps to have something on each side. And Mega's gone that way. God, let me over. Suicide time. Boom. Yeah, anyway. That was my last game, so... the Mega... Oh, it's a hovercraft, okay. It looked like it was stuck. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for asking questions. I'm always happy to try and answer them when I can. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Robocraft 01. And we will see you soon after the Super Game Disruption patch, which is coming out today. So yes, the game certainly won't be the same. Alright, have fun, good night, and have fun building. See ya.